Welcome to a special edition of Daily News with Jeffrey Thomas and co-host Richard Godfrey, looking at the search for MH370. The special news we bring you today is that Armada 7806 has stopped its survey and is now headed for Singapore. So we want to analyse this turn of events, which is very unexpected, and let's go through this with you. On the 20th of December 2024, the Malaysian authorities announced at a press conference given by Anthony Loke, the Malaysian Minister of Transport, that the new search would be carried out on a no find, no fee basis. This means Ocean Infinity would only receive payment in the search if the search uncovered a substantial wreckage of MH370. Specifically, the government agreed in principle to a contract that, if successful, would pay Ocean Infinity up to US $70 million. The contract was intended to run for up to 18 months, as announced by the Malaysian government, with an optimal search window between January and April. However, the announcement was made in principle, meaning that the final contract details and cabinet approval were still pending before the operation could officially begin. Now, Richard has done an enormous amount of research on this over the last 24 hours, and I turn it over to you, Richard, to run us through your assessment of exactly what's going on.
Yeah, it's very difficult in the absence of any official statement from the Malaysians or from Ocean Infinity. But the Ministry of Transport on the 19th of March in Malaysia did make an announcement that they have been authorized by the Malaysian cabinet to sign an agreement with Ocean Infinity. We're showing you this announcement on the screen. The announcement, however, no longer mentions a contract duration of 18 months, which I thought might have been an indication that maybe they're changing the contract terms, having previously agreed to an 18-month contract. The next of kin announced an agreement has been signed, although the signing was in secret and at a remote location. That announcement was made on the 26th of March. Then we're showing you that announcement on the screen. Reuters asked Ocean Infinity to confirm that they had signed this agreement with the Malaysian authorities, and reports the response from Ocean Infinity was no additional information to be provided at this stage, whatever that means. And then yesterday, Armada 7806 heads for its home port of Singapore. And it's now well underway in the Indian Ocean towards Singapore. What Armada 7806 is not doing is using the full extent of the November to April search season. It is not going to Fremantle, which would allow another 6 days before having to leave the search area. And it would also allow one more swing back to the search area before the search season ends. The AUV launch and recovery data from Armada 7806 might also give a clue. It shows that the last AUV missions in the second survey area were generally shorter than the AUV missions in the first survey area. The shortest AUV mission in the first survey area was 45 hours, 44 minutes. The AUV missions in the second survey area have been averaging around 25 hours, 18 minutes. But the last three AUV missions in the second survey area yesterday appear to have been cut short and average only 14 hours, 46 minutes. Now, I don't want to read too much into that. It could be that the last three missions were of just required for a smaller area, but it could also mean that they could have been cut short. We don't know. The last AUV was recovered yesterday between 10:16 UTC and 10:46 UTC, and Armada 7806 departed for Singapore yesterday at 12:27. It appears that the survey work was cut short, and only 2 days after supposedly signing this secret and private agreement with Malaysia. Armada 7806 is expected to arrive in Singapore by the 8th of April. And even if it turned around and left with a new crew for the search area, it would only arrive back by the 20th of April, which is far too close to the end of the search season, which ends at the end of April, to be useful. I do not expect any further search by Ocean Infinity in the current search season. The next search season starts in November of this year, so I think we might have a long wait.
Yes, this is deeply disturbing, Richard. One wonders on what basis the next of kin issued the statement that both parties had signed this contract, because clearly it would appear that they have not. Would you agree with that?
Well, I think they act in good faith, and
Hmm.
I think certainly Anthony Loke may have contacted the next of kin and told them, well, we've got the cabinet approval and we've agreed to sign at a remote location. But I find it strange that Ocean Infinity could not confirm that, not even to someone like Reuters and other
Hmm.
uh, members of the press who have a sterling reputation. Not every media has a reputation like Reuters
Hmm.
um, or the other major press agencies. But if Ocean Infinity say they can neither confirm nor deny, it is a bit strange in my view.
Look, it is indeed, and it's very, very, it's deeply disturbing for the families left behind that this game, and you can only call it a game now, it would appear a game being played by Malaysia, because clearly the terms and conditions are not what Ocean Infinity can accept. And again, we don't know exactly what they are, but Ocean Infinity clearly wants to do the search. They're down there surveying, so they've shown their cards, they're showing their commitment, and they've done the search before without success. They're back doing it again. So from that perspective, you'd have to say that they're absolutely honouring their side of the bargain. It would appear as though the Malaysians may have changed the terms and conditions that simply make it unacceptable.
Yeah, it looks like that. In 2018, the terms and conditions were made public to a much greater extent
Hmm.
and included, for example, the salvaging of the wreckage. And there was an appendix with a list of the items that Malaysia wanted recovered if the wreckage was found. Now, those terms and conditions have not been made public this time. And I think everyone has assumed, well, they had a contract in 2018. Surely it's going to be a very similar contract now in 2025. And maybe that's not the case, and maybe there were changes in the terms and conditions, and changes since the announcement in principle on the 20th of December last year.
Mm.
Because Oliver Plunkett is on the record of saying how he warmly greeted the announcement on the 20th December last year, and he has indicated that everything is just a question of getting the teams out there into the Indian Ocean, which he has done,
Yeah,
and that he would then give us updates in 2025 when the teams are in a position to start the search. Well, there has been no update in 2025. So we know they were doing survey work. They only do survey work because they want to prepare for the search for the MH370. Uh, we know that they've announced to the next of kin their plans. The next of kin were actually present in the meeting between Ocean Infinity and the Minister of Transport in
May last year.
Malaysia
Mm.
in May last year. So that, I think everyone's being open and transparent, but now it's all gone quiet and being kept out of the public eye.
It has indeed. Yes. Um, what we're going to do, viewers, is obviously watch this very carefully. There could be some new developments in the next 24 to 48 hours. It's obviously a very fluid situation, and I'm sure something is going to be said soon. I hope so, because they owe it to the families to have an explanation of what's going on. And Ocean Infinity has always been very good about that. Would you not agree, Richard? They've always been very worked with the families very closely.
Yes, they have. The families have been updated by both Anthony Loke and his ministry in Malaysia, as well as personally by Oliver Plunkett from Ocean Infinity. And it is strange leaving the families 1 minute being euphoric about a signing 2 days ago, and the next minute leaving the search area, and without any announcement of either to the families privately or publicly, for the rest of us to understand what's going on.
Yeah. So, viewers, we did say to you that we would be talking to you Sunday night on the US aircraft out of Diego Garcia. Because of this development, we're going to postpone that till Monday night. And so we have a day off tomorrow. And hopefully by Monday night, we might have a little bit more clarity about what's actually happening with this search, where it's going or where it's not going, and possibly some explanations. But thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thanks for the comments. Really do appreciate them. They're great, and love the likes. And once again, Richard, thank you for your sterling work on this. It's been a lot of research to pull all this together.
You're welcome.
Thank you.